Very good evening, everybody, Honorable Minister and all our guests, and Mr. Mittal, of course. I think Mr. Mittal's speech talked about our history and going to the future. So very beautifully articulated his speech, and of course, we are going towards Amrit Kal. So I think, yeah. So we all can see that, and today we pay as an industry. Everybody now we are paying more to the people who can spot problems and less maybe to the people who can solve problems. So spotting the problem has become, I think, the core of everything we are looking at now, which was not happening earlier, or which we were not realizing. All the startups we talk about are working on solving some problem. So what I see here is world has realized there is a problem. So I think that's the beginning. Spotting the problem is the beginning, and we've spotted it well. And the world is talking about it. In G20 agenda, while discussing with all the countries, they also stressed a lot about green energy and climate change, and that was one of their core discussion points. So the good part is that people have realized it and are working towards it. Not only India, the world is working towards it. India, being the fifth largest GDP now, will soon become the third largest GDP in the world. But when we talk about green hydrogen, especially, I think there are three countries I see are really working towards green hydrogen. Of course, Saudi Arabia, India, and Australia. These are the three countries actively pursuing green hydrogen. The Europe and everybody's talking about it, but they have their own challenges. Japan has their own challenges. The energy consumption in Japan is going down, whereas in India it's a growing economy, growing middle class. Maximum places we are short of energy supplies. So I think India has taken the lead, going green and growing carbon neutral. Talking about the Paris Agreement again, the Paris Agreement committed that we will reduce carbon footprint by 45% by 2030 and go carbon neutral by 2050. Whether we'll do it or no, I don't know. But that's the vision. And the good part again is India is thriving over it. Mr. Mittal mentioned three of the main guzzlers of diesel and fossil fuel, and how they are carbonizing the world. So I am also part of it when it comes to automobile and generators. So sorry for that. But yeah, that was the demand of that particular year or hour. Now the demand is shifting. So yes, so talking from the automobile perspective now, let's take Tata Motors as an example. Being an Indian company and core Indian company, and we all know the value system of Tata. So they have taken a target of reducing their carbon footprint and using only used material. By 2030, they've committed to themselves that they will not use, Tata Motors I'm talking about, any virgin material. By 2030, they will only reuse the material by 2030. So that's the very important step they are working towards. So I am also joining hands with them and starting a scrappage center in MP. So again, talking about automobiles, you mentioned 30 lakh trucks already on road, and again, passenger vehicle is multiple X of that. So we already have 9 lakh vehicle on Indian roads which are 15 years and older. So first we need to think about them, because they are the vehicles actually doing a lot of pollution. And so yeah, the scrappage center. So Tata has taken that step, that every vehicle, and the government is working on policies to incentivize. Again, if you go to a scrappage center and if you give your vehicle which is 15 years and older, you get incentive up to 13 to 15% when you buy a new vehicle. And the new vehicle again, Indian government is pushing EV. So that's change we can see being in the automobile. Then by 2045, Tata has again taken a target to go fully carbon neutral, Tata Motors itself. Whereas the target given by government of India to them is 2050. So they are keeping 5 years as a buffer. So that's the change we saw. Again, automobile, they are working on hydrogen engines. Hydrogen engines have been successfully tested. I again had the pleasure of, from Toyota, gifted a car to Mr. Shri Nitin Gadkari ji. The Mirai hydrogen car that he uses in Delhi is fully run on hydrogen and zero polluting vehicle. So again, we are working on that model. This is not far off talking about hydrogen vehicles. California state is already has a developed infrastructure on hydrogen. So as we know, hydrogen is a fuel of the future, very good fuel, very green. The output is again water. But what about the infrastructure? Mittal and everybody else will agree that transportation of hydrogen and things like that are still very complicated subject matter. The infrastructure needs a lot of investment. But California as a state in the US is already working towards that infrastructure. So the maximum vehicles, hydrogen vehicles in the world getting sold today are in the California state. So that change is happening. We've given a proposal as Toyota also to the government of India about hydrogen and how we can promote hydrogen vehicles in India. But of course, it needs a long way. The government policies have to be there. The government spend has to increase on the infrastructure. As he mentioned that why not have the existing petrol pumps, ONGC and BPCL sell or promote hydrogen. But of course, that will happen. It will take time. It is not easy. It is not cheap. But again, the problem is there. We know the solution and we are working towards the solution. So it's not a very far off target that we are having. So many examples that I can speak of and I can give that we are working towards that. And I think Mittal ji and his company are doing a fantastic job. I am a businessman, so I only spot ideas and opportunities and then I become a part of it. So Rachna wanted me to speak here from the business perspective. So I see that this is the future. This is the future oil. Of course, the foreign reserves India will benefit a lot if India is the, you all must be knowing that India uses the maximum fossil fuel in the world. I think just to sum up that I am very positive on going and investing in clean energy and I see a good future and I see whoever I'm meeting today, globally or within India, within business houses, everybody is doing their bit and they see that if they have to sustain ESG की बात कर रहे हैं, stock listed companies है, you are also, your company is also stock listed, तो ESG की बात कर रहे हैं. So that shift is coming. So I think if a businessman is not enjoying that ride now, I think probably he'll miss the bus. So that is the bottom line and we are very positive. I invested in a lot of startups who are working towards carbon neutralization and things like that, giving solutions, cement industries and steel industries initially and things like that. So changes are happening. So I'm very positive and yes, that's it. Thank you.